Great games at your table. I'm Jonathan Albin, and this is Game Master Soapbox. And today we're going to be talking about what it is that precisely game players get out of their games sessions. And this is not a secret list, this is not a surprise list, but this is a fundamentally comprehensive list of what it is that the players and the game master get out of game sessions. As you may know, I've been a game master for 50 years, and I do everything I can to make your games at your tables more than they have been before. So before we get going, make sure you go down below and click all the buttons and let the algorithm know that you're part of our audience. And let's get started.
Absorbing damage is the name of the game. From the claws of monsters or the heat from a ball of flame, or strength in numbers is a roll of the dice.
As you know, I often talk about the different ways people play and the different reasons that individuals come to the table. And while you could argue about the differences between different players concerning what it is they are looking for in the games, but today I want to look at in particular those things that we all hold near and dear and want from the games. Now, some of them are things that we don't even recognize or even acknowledge that we're wanting to get from the game sessions, but these are the overarching ones. And some of them are daunting only because we secretly crave them. They're not something that we actually go out of our way to find. But by becoming involved in a role-playing environment, we are definitely reaching for these items. The result, of course, is hopefully that the game sessions will be thrilling and exciting. And I can say that it's somewhat akin to the game of golf, and that is you endeavor each session to play your best. And when it goes just right and everybody gets what they're looking for out of the game in balance, it becomes an absolutely memorable occasion. And we are really collectively looking for, above many of these things, the perfect scenario, perfect setting where all of these things are hit in equal measure. So, and when we get to the end, by the way, I think we'll come to a conclusion that you all can agree with me on. So the first thing is that we entertain each other. The laughter, the camaraderie, the continuity, the contentment that we have with each other at the table is an experience that those that have never played a role-playing game really haven't yet been able to really appreciate. Now, people who play card games, board games, other forms of tabletop games certainly have a somewhat shared experience, but there is nothing like the camaraderie and closeness that develops within a games group, and each person in turn is providing some portion of the thrilling experience of the event for all of the others to enjoy. From our childhood, we've always wanted to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. We like to be a part of a group. We like to get feedback and validation. We're going to go into all the particulars of it, but really one of the fundamental elements that we all hope for, and for the game session to go really well, is a coherent and inclusive play experience. Everyone is a part of the story, and every part of the story matters to the whole. And so we are looking for that inclusion and continuity of the group as a whole as it moves through the series of adventures. Even if you're looking at one-shot or solo, singular adventures, or a series, or even a saga, you're looking for that being a part of something and knowing that others fundamentally are hoping and wanting you to be there as well. And this one is probably the one that I might get some pushback on, and that is that we all crave the limelight. We want our position in the story to matter to the story. And while there are those that are somewhat shell-shocked, so to speak, they suffer a minor form of PTSD if they're put on the hot seat, so to speak. Nonetheless, there is a dynamic of role play that occurs that is deeper and stronger, perhaps, when we are put in the position of being the final arbiter of some action within the story. And this does not necessarily mean we have to be, standing on stage with everybody looking at us. That may not be the way. But instead, the idea that what our thoughts were are taken into account and are promoted by the others at the table. And this opportunity provides us really with the validation that we might not see otherwise. We'll go more into that in a little bit, I believe. Each type of role-playing game has a different flavor, and certainly an element of enjoying your time together is to be involved in some form of comical outcome, whether it be a happenstance laugh at a joke that we told, or a clever pun that we've devised, or a remembrance of a movie that applies within the game. These are all important to the fun of the session, and all of these elements, the comedy of it, the sheer drama of the decision that may have ramifications beyond just the actions of the players, and even particularly the danger of whether or not a character might be risking his life to do something. All of these are fundamentally blends in the mix of the perfect game session. We inevitably remember the sessions that had we needed a particular die roll and the person got the opposite, or there's the monster that almost got us, or if you're role-playing a fishing encounter and the fish that got away, that could even be a part of what makes the session memorable. It's the actual theatrics of the session that really bring the collective experience to new heights and make it more memorable. Now, I talked about inclusion, but more importantly than inclusion, we appreciate the belonging. That is, where we are in the group fits a niche, and the other players recognize how that really is valuable to us. And having a sense of belonging makes the story feel bigger than it is, because it's not just your personal choices, but the decisions of the collective that really changes the flow of the story and brings us that togetherness that we really hope to find. Wow, having a problem with the button. When it comes to a story that's deep and has some decision-making mechanisms in it, we hope to find and seek validation for our personal ideas on how something is accomplished. We enjoy the moments where what we said made a difference, and when we make a statement of our position, it's enhanced when we can look into the eyes of the other players and see their acquiescence and their agreement that this is a really good thing. This also adds to the experience of a role player, that what they are and who they are in the story has real and lasting reactions and conditions that it modifies and makes more exciting and more thrilling. We want to be not only those who engage in the game, but we want to be those who make the correct decisions at the right times in the game. And that's validated by other players who support and follow up on our direction, or are able to see what we're trying to say and even amplify what we've suggested. most of us have been in a career where we have been part of a team, and it's important to be able to build on the decisions that others make. And this idea of team building and being part of a moving force really adds to the experience. There are situations where you are doing a solo game, for example, and you're the only player who's making a decision, and it's not quite as challenging as when you have multiple ideas to have to churn through and make decisions about. And the very process of doing that scratches an itch that's in all of our minds, that we want not only to be a part of anything, of something in particular, but we want to know that the impact is not just a singular course, but that the part of our ideas contributed to the overall success of the mission. In essence, it's we love it when a plan comes together. We like to see all of the pieces fall in a row. And while, for example, some people get perhaps derisive pleasure by watching a die roll fail, that concept is overcome when we actually put together a plan, and the game master's story elevates our role by making that story seem like the obvious and the right thing to do in a given situation. And even if it's a constructed plan that takes 1 week, 2 weeks, a month to come together, when it actually concludes and we see the result of it, we get a great amount of pleasure and validity from it. On the other hand, of course, we all can appreciate when something goes wrong for someone else, and whether that is somebody who rolls a critical failure on a die roll that they should have obviously made, or the villains are brought low by the actions that the players have put into place. We get a bit of a charge out of it. Now, we don't always get this, but in the larger scale, when you talk about the games that you remember, I would not hesitate to say that a little bit of Schadenfreude, a little bit of the Banbanam of watching another person's problems explode in their face, we get a thrill out of that and want that from time to time. And in those memorable stories, inevitably there is a element of Schadenfreude in every session that we remember. And here's the part that's no surprise. We play because of the fun of it. The very concept of the name role-playing game does put in that gamble, that concept of the random element to it. And we get together because we are a collective group that are looking forward to these interactions that bring us joy. And so, as we do in all cases, we really reach for those sessions that are memorable and positive. As I said, we may have a memory of something that had a bit of a Schadenfreude or a missed opportunity that plays into it, but the elemental purpose of role-playing games is to have fun. And I'm hoping you're having fun watching these videos. If you do like what we're doing, go ahead and put a comment down below. If you want to become a part of our community, we do have a Patreon account at patreon.com/Nikos, and you can actually become a part of our playing community, as we do have Patreon only game sessions on weekends. And if you want to become part of that, become a part of the Patreon community, and then you'll be given access to the games that we play on the weekend. Now, before we get out of here, I want to remind you that we are on the air Monday through Friday a couple of times a day, and it's tentatively always for 10 a.m. and 11 p.m. Pacific. Doesn't always fall that way, but that's when we're here on Twitch. These videos do go to YouTube, and if you want to become a part of our group, we'd love to have you with us. And until we get to that point, I recommend that you do what my grandfather always told me, and that is go play.